Welcome to Lathe and Loom podcast. My name is Cher and this is episode 24. If you're a new viewer, thank you so much for stopping by. And if you're a returning viewer, thank you so much for coming back. It's been quite a while since my last episode. Business, travel, life, I think as everybody is seeing this time of year. But I'm way overdue to catch up and have missed having a nice little chat with you all. So I think I have probably 2 or 3 episodes worth. I'm going to try to break it up so it's not too long to watch. But I hope you will grab a beverage of choice depending on what time of day and time of year you're in and a project and sit down and have a little chat. So, knitting life. What have I been doing since I last spoke to you? I believe since I've last spoken to you, we've had local yarn shop day, which so you now know how long it's been since I've posted an episode. I joined my local-ish yarn store, the Knit Nook in Morehead City, North Carolina. And they had it was also an anniversary for them, which was lovely. Very full, lots of people in the store, and they invited me to do a spindle spinning demonstration. So that was a lot of fun, and it was really great to see how much interest folks had in that. And I think I have inducted a couple of new spinners. Somebody even brought a Turkish spindle. They had done a 3D printed Turkish spindle and had not used it yet, so got her started. And anyway, it was just fun. A lovely group of women, several of which I think are new subscribers. I appreciate so much having spent the time with all of you, and of course Karen and Lisa at the shop. So that was a lot of fun. And then the other big knitting news is I attended the Maryland Sheep and Wool Festival. This is the first time I have attended that festival. It was a lovely day. I joined with my daughter a bus trip from Dances with Wool in Richmond, Virginia, which was a great way to go up. So, no driving, no traffic, no parking, lots of knitting on the way, and again, just lots of lovely camaraderie with fellow knitters and crocheters and crafters. So that was a lot of fun, and I want to talk a little bit about some of the things there. Either in the opening or here, I will, or throughout maybe, I will be putting some of the footage of the sheep that we saw. I actually was really bad about filming live video at either event. My daughter joined me for both events, which was wonderful. She's a relatively new knitter, but had just finished a blanket and was well into a hat, and like speedy knit and purl ribbing. I was like, wow, I can't believe you are fairly new at that. So that was a lot of fun for me. But anyway, I just really kind of enjoyed the moment and the event and being there. So there'll be a few pictures I'll kind of pop in periodically, but not any video, and one day I'll get better at that, maybe. But I do think it's important to really also enjoy the events that were there. So for the Maryland Sheep and Wool, it was their 50th anniversary. So here's their little 50th anniversary button, which was fun to pick up. So something for one of my bags. And so this was held May 6th and 7th, 2023. I'm recording this on I believe it's June 4th, Sunday, June 4th. So it's a little after, almost a month. And here's the program. I've been to really only two other festivals. Years ago, I had been to the Montpelier, Virginia Festival, which is a really nice small festival in Montpelier, Virginia, obviously. Just kind of really small. And then the North Carolina Fiber Fest, I've been to a couple times in Raleigh, North Carolina. And that's also, I would say, a small-ish event by comparison. So I had heard Maryland Sheep and Wool. I have not been to Rhinebeck, the New York Sheep and Wool, but I had heard Maryland is in similar-ish in size. It's held at the fairgrounds up there, and or the Howard County Fairgrounds in West Friendship, Maryland, and it is huge. So it's just, they have barns, lots of animals, which I love to. We spent probably the first 2 to 2.5 hours walking around and just looking at all the different sheep breeds. That's probably where I'll be popping some of these photos in for you. It was the 50th anniversary of the Sheep and Wool, and the featured breed, much to my delight, and you'll know from some of my past episodes and ongoing projects, was the Jacob sheep. So I love, love, love the Jacob sheep. It's one of my very favorite that so far that I've processed and spun, and as you know, some of you know, or if you're new, you don't know, I have a long-term project to process, spin, and knit a half shawl from the Jacob sheep that I have, Sibi, and so that is ongoing. So it was a lot of fun to have kind of the focus on the Jacob sheep there. I visited the Jacob Sheep Breeders Association, which was formed in 1988, and the Jacob is an ancient breed in its present form, and it is considered a threatened breed by the Livestock Conservancy's list. So I went to their booth also as I was looking at all the sheep, and I got this lovely, and I believe this is from a farm, but this was at their booth, I'm 90% sure. But this farm had a visitor that did their some artwork for them, and this is a cup towel. They had bags and t-shirts, and anyway, I just thought it was just lovely and lots of fun to have. Now, whether I actually will use it in my kitchen will probably remain to be seen, but really enjoyed picking that up and seeing the different sheep. So I'll put a few of the Jacob here for you to take a look at. One of the other breeds that there was lots. I mean, we walked around. It was really nice to see the breeds that I had done some spinning with. So the Leicester, or Blue-Faced Leicester, the Corriedale, there was some Merino, there was, oh my gosh, many, many, many. If I remember, I'll add them in. But I also have been very interested in the Valais Blacknose sheep. This is just a black and white photo, but I'll put some pictures. So there was I believe two different farms of these that do pure Valais Blacknose, and so it was really neat to see them in person. And I mean, all of them have a little bit different personalities and temperaments. It was really, really fun to kind of see them in person and be able to compare and contrast. I still couldn't identify them, most of them, by just looking, but a lot of fun there to see. So that was that. I will kind of sprinkle some of the acquisitions from the Maryland Sheep and Wool between the next couple episodes, just so it's not a lengthy stash of video, but a couple that I did want to share. So I've heard so much about Miss Babs yarn, and if you, Miss Babs yarn apparently typically does a show special colorway. So this is literally the only yarn I bought, which is hilarious, I think, for having it. So this was the Golden Anniversary, 50th Anniversary, Maryland Sheep and Wool 2023 colorway from Miss Babs. And it came with the little thank you, a little stitch marker here. And check out this beautiful skein of yarn. It came in different bases, so I was very tempted to get the base that had the gold stellina in it, but this just, I mean, it just really sings anyway without any help. So I thought that was fun, and that was my kind of, you know, special yarn purchase to commemorate the event there for the show. The other like really special thing that I ran into was there was a booth set up for the saltwater books. So the interesting story, to back up a little bit, I went to Quebec City back in the fall, and with the intent of going then on to Prince Edward Isle for the Prince Edward Isle Yarn Festival. As many of you know, the Yarn Festival was blown away almost literally by Hurricane Fiona. So the night before we were supposed to fly into Prince Edward Isle, the flights were and the hotels were canceled, and we ended up working our way back, really disappointed after 3 years of wanting to go to this festival. And one of the vendors that I was really interested to see was to meet Christine and Shirley from the saltwater. They have saltwater class. I think they have 4 books. Might be more than that, but at least 4. Anyway, so as I'm wandering around through the festival, we got to kind of the main kind of exhibition room where they had you know, a lot of the projects displayed, you know, folks spinning and knitting and crochet projects, and they were doing a sheep to shawl demonstration, which is phenomenal. 4 hours. I think the teams were each 4 people each, might have been 5. Literally somebody had shear the sheep, they were processing the wool, spinning the wool, and somebody was weaving, and they have 4 hours to do a completed shawl. So considering how long it's taken me to do some of my spinning shawl and weaving projects, I think that's just really phenomenal. So, but anyway, as we're wandering around, there is a saltwater books table, and Christine Legros, who's one of the co-authors of the book, was there. And it was such a delightful serendipity. Apparently her daughter lives nearish in the area, and so she had the opportunity to visit and attend. They had their books out, but I had told her I was beyond over the moon to have an opportunity to meet her in person, because that was definitely one of the things I had wanted to do at Prince Edward Isle. So we had just a lovely chat. She was just a really kind and wonderful individual to talk with. So I picked up 2 books. It was so hard to pick, but this is Saltwater Classics, is one of their books, and it has quite a number of, they have hats. Let's see if I can find some, they're just photos. Some mittens. These vamps are a relatively popular, sort of like a slipper sock. Let me find a good photo. Here's several to show there. There is some lovely hats and a lot of mittens. There's the, I think this is the one, yes, has the trigger mittens in it, where you have that, you can either have the classic mitten style as here, or the trigger mitten. It has that extra finger on it. So I thought that was neat. But just the patterns, there's some tea cozies. The patterns and the designs, there's a moose hat. Or just I think are going to just be a lot of fun and have just projects for years to come. There's a lot of different things that you don't typically see. So that was in that one. And then the second book I got was Saltwater Gifts. So a little more, you know, also mittens, hats, the vamps again, some really delightful tea cozies. which I am a avid tea drinker, so that's fun. Water bottle cover, which is a Guernsey style. You know, cabled works. Again, socks. I love these really classic hiking socks. There's some bandanas. So lots of things that could be small gifts, you know, whipped up quickly. Some, again, different hat patterns. And there are also, as I have flipped through, a fair amount of just little stories that kind of came along with some of the patterns and the area as I have started to flip through. So really enjoyable to have that element to join as well. And then one other thing I'll talk about now, this is it's a shawl closure or sweater closure by Jules Designs. And so this pops off, you can pop it through your shawl, and I will try to take some B-roll of it. I bought it specifically for my Happy Shawl, which is by Cheryl Ann Wharton, CAW Designs, and I will put some B-roll with a picture of that in here. I have been wanting that ever since I saw it on Fleece and Harmony. it is a pattern from that was done in conjunction with them, and it uses their yarn. So anyway, that was another nice thing. So I actually bought things more so than with the exception of that one skein of yarn. So it'll probably come as no surprise that whilst shopping and looking at sheep, I had to pick up some fleece because I have kind of a hobby that way, we shall say. So a couple of ones. So I got one very small sample, pardon my duck there. And this is some Gotland, and I was walking along, I mean, as you do, and just so overwhelming. I mean, vendor after, there was actually tents that at the end we realized we didn't get to, so it was just vendor after vendor after vendor, and after a while I get a little bit overwhelmed and I'm not quite sure where to look, so I kind of go back to what's easy, which is looking at fleece and such. So anyway, I was passing by a booth, and she had a Gotland pelt out, well, with as a number of different ways to purchase the Gotland fiber, including made of gifts. And it was a lovely woman, Annette Skog. I apologize if I'm butchering that. GotlandSheepandWool.com, and it was Gotland Sheep and Wool International. So there's their card there, and information. I will put that in the description box below. Anyway, I touched this pelt and I was like, oh my gosh, because I have some processed Gotland top, and it feels nice, but I mean this. And so I purchased just a little bit of this to try. It is just, I mean, it's silky. I mean, it absolutely, it has, pull out a couple of short staples here. It's relatively long, stapled, very curly, you know, a lot of, but large, this is unwashed raw fleece. And it's just, oh, I can't wait to like, I think I would comb it to try to keep that integrity of that larger crimp. But anyway, that was just a fun little find, and I think it'll be really interesting to process and spin that, and then maybe spin some of the top at the same time and see how the two compare. You might, I think it's my most recent episode, prior to this one, I had followed the lead of Lisa from Soulful Spinning and had steamed and or soaked some of my combed top that I was processing with my support spindle and found that it just really brought a lot of life back to the fiber. So that might be another kind of comparison I can do with the other Gotland top. I think it's very interesting to just see different ways to process and how it would affect the fiber and the final yarn and product, right? So we'll do that there. But wait, there's more. So I couldn't let the fleece sale go by. I mean, I tried. I really did. I ignored it. I went and looked. No. Then I found this one. I just was like, it was just a lovely, caught my eye, of course, and I actually walked away. We went and had lunch. I was like, when we go through to leave, if it's still there, maybe it was meant to be. So my daughter encouraged me to go back, of course, because she's great that way. And it was still there. Interestingly, the individual that helped me buy my Corriedale at the North Carolina Fiber Fest, Kimberly, and I'll put her link here. She has a really nice YouTube channel that shows how to comb and spin and process wool, and it was also here. Also helped me look at this fleece. So I thought that was like kind of interesting coincidence. But the fleece that I ended up purchasing is it's Leicester Cross, I believe, is how it's kind of got an abbreviation, but it's at the ebony color. And this was the card that was in it. This is the Shepherdess Gwen Handler of Hill Farm in Westminster, Maryland. And I don't think I will again take some photos, but just to give a little sense. Here's the bag of fleece. And I'll try to, this fleece just absolutely called to me. It's soft. We believe it's a lamb's fleece. It's 3.5 pounds. I will pull a couple of staples out. I was going to process it yesterday. It was nice and sunny and it got cool again today. But I mean, look, here's this lock. Look at that. Look at that lock. Look at that crimp. Oh my gosh, it's just so lovely. So, I mean, I didn't need another black fleece, but I could not resist. I mean, I think, it just, something gets your attention and I had to have it. It's beautifully soft. I am going to try to comb it from a processing standpoint. We'll see. I mean, it's a little bit long and I fear like my Jacob that's very long that I'm processing on the drum carder, probably not the best way to process that. So I am going to try to get this one washed up, despite the fact that I have several other fleeces that are older and also need to be processed. But I actually have run out of room to put them in, so I'm going to start with the one that I haven't put away yet and kind of go from there for some summer processing. But so definitely will be more to come on that fleece and show you more then. So I did actually run up and grab my Happy Shawl, which is here. Put some photos in as well, but I wanted to show you how the closure fits on there. And it's just literally the most perfect accompaniment. This is extremely warm, and despite the fact that we've had hot, and today it's 60 in North Carolina. I'm on the eastern, I'm kind of middle eastern part of the state. I'm really warm already in this. So I wanted to wear this particular sweater. This is the Heart of Glass tee. I don't know that if I can get any angle to stand up a little bit. Yeah, I can see a little bit. This is a pattern by Mary Ann Aurelia of Lyrical Knits. And I did this some time ago. It was my first fingering weight. My first sweater was the Ranunculus. This is my second sweater. The pattern is impeccably written. This is a yarn that's done by Sheep Dip Dye Works. That was done, it's called Wild Horses. It was an homage to our North Carolina version of the Chincoteague ponies. We have a similar, the island is escaping me, but done and purchased at the Knit Nook, which is where she sells her yarn. So anyway, so it was a really, I enjoyed this knit tremendously. It fits really well, but the point of me wearing it, I had worn it to Maryland Sheep and Wool, because of course you want to wear wool at a wool festival. It was very warm that day, and despite the fact that we like to say how much wool breathes, I was warm, kind of, but I was able to kind of push my sleeves up and go. But I got stopped by many people asking me what the pattern was, telling me how nice the sweater was, which was fun, and just it was fun. Let's be clear. So for the sweater, there is a sleeveless and a 3/4 sleeve version. I did alter it to mimic the lace pattern that's on the hem onto the sleeve, and I've been super happy with that option. The knit, if you have not ever knit a finger weight sweater, again, this one is impeccably written and fits beautifully. And she talks to you about how to adjust. She uses some princess seams to get that nice kind of hourglass fit, if that's how you like your sweaters. For me, the lace also helped because it kind of opens up on my hips, which is a little wider than the rest of me. It was nice fitting in the arms. I don't believe I made any modifications there. And it's really the first lace pattern I've done other than just the little bit that's in the ranunculus. And it's a lovely lace pattern. It's a fairly easy repeat. I mean, you have to look at the chart, but you do quickly, you're able to look at it once and then repeat, and then look at it once and repeat. So it was really easy to keep track of. So I enjoyed it so much I put it on the sleeves. I always pin out the points when I block it. This is actually, I have not washed it since the festival, so, but anyway, it holds pretty nicely. And just a lovely knit. So I did want to kind of give a shout out to Marianne Aurelia and her lyrical knits. Her designs are nice. I'm sure she'll be a designer that I will knit other items from in the future. So I have a few finished objects. I think I've posted them, but I have not shown them here. So I'll give you a little demonstration of that. So the first one I have is my toast mitts. This is a pattern by Leslie Friend. She has a Friend to Knit With channel on YouTube. And so here is my toast. This is not part of the pattern. Her pattern, you would strictly have the just the cuff like this. I knitted this out of a Blue Sky Fibers, their Aran weight, which is partial alpaca. It knits up super fast. It is a terrific on the go because unlike a sock, you're not doing heels and toes or increases or decreases or anything. I did do, the bind off and cast on to just have thumb holes. My next pair, which I will knit again, because I love these in purpose. I wanted them for winter, really even just around the house, just because I get cold, and if you keep your wrists covered, that seems to help a lot. So that was my motivation for doing that. But I just love them. It was that one skein was perfect. I think I still had a little bit extra of it as well. Probably, and I knit them quite long because I wanted them that way. But so that's a great pattern, very clear, very easy. It would be a good starting knit problem, or if you've not done anything on small circumference, you want to try that out. I think that would be really nice as well. So that details of that are on my Ravelry project page, as is everything that I show. I trying to get better, and I'm trying to actually even put progress for my whips in my Ravelry pages. So that's always linked in the show notes. I also will try to link any other designers or makers that I talk about there as well, because I definitely have a passion on this channel. One of my goals was to be able to highlight the shepherds and shepherdesses and makers and shops that support us as fiber enthusiasts. My second FO is, ta-da! These are the Bear Paw socks. This is a pattern by Andrea Mowry. She had a recent knit along, which I think I started then. I gotta tell you, I had a love-hate relationship with these socks. It had nothing to do with the pattern. As you know, she's Andrea Dreyer knits. Andrea Mowry is a well-known designer. She has very clear patterns. I've done a number of other, not a number, I've done a couple of her other patterns, most notably the Comfort Fade Cardi, which I love. And actually, this is some of the same yarn that I used in my Comfort Fade Cardi. The yarn is a combination of Life in the Long Grass. This color is Belize. This color is Dahlia. I don't believe I used Ramshackle. That was the other color I used in my Comfort Fade. And then this yarn here is the color is Garnet, and I am not remembering the name of the dyer, which is terrible. It's in my in my project notes, and I probably will pop it across the screen. I'll remember when I edit. So this is an interesting. So my go-to. So I taught myself how to make socks. I was completely self-taught from cobbling together YouTube videos, and my standard hand-knitted sock, I also do sock machine cranked socks, but my standard hand-knitted sock, I always do toe up, a Turkish cast on for the toe. I do a slightly rounded toe, knit up the foot. I do a shadow wrap heel. I've done that for years. If that is not familiar to you, I would encourage you to pop over to Earth Tone Girls, Denise's YouTube channel. She has really brought the shadow wrap heel into popular knitting culture, and has some great videos on how to do that. I love that heel. It fits me wonderfully. It's easy to memorize. I just have never gotten the hang of. I mean, I've done really actually only one pair of gusset heel toe, got flap and gusset socks, and they're beautiful, but I don't love the look unless it's just one color, and I find it really like I can't remember it, so then I have to have a pattern, and that just annoys me. For socks I don't want to have a pattern, which is probably part of the issue with this knit. But I wanted to try something different, and I love the look of these. I mean, they're beautiful. The issue I had, and I love the ribbing, I mean, they fit really nicely from that aspect, so that's something I would incorporate anyway. And these are a DK weight sock, by the way, which should have made them a very, very quick knit. And they probably would have been if I didn't have knit them 4 times. So you start on this one, you start with the toe. It may actually be, I think it is a Turkish cast on the toe. She has a fade. I just kind of mirrored it by, using the different yarns, because I was not using 2 sock yarns. I was actually holding DK yarn because that's what I had. So it's a sort of a modified, there is a bit of a gusset here. And then it's a really unusual heel construction. And I'm remembering now that, so what you get in the back of the heel, if you were wearing these, I'll try to put a picture from her pattern page, is you get this little paw at the back of the heel. Can't see that super well, can you? Let me see if I can, here. Which is so cute, isn't it? So, but like, look at how long. Okay, so the problem was, is estimating. Now, I mean, I know where I normally knit my foot of my socks when I start my heel, and you think, oh, it should be similar, right? But so she had some information in the pattern, and it's a paid for pattern, so I won't divulge that. But I thought I followed that, and the first time, I mean, I kid you not, the foot of the sock was probably this long. You think I might have noticed that as I was knitting, but it's sort of, scrunched up in its ribbing. It didn't really register to me, but anyway, so I rip it back, and I think, okay, I'll do the I'll kind of go more between that and what I do. So I think I do what I do that. I take it off again. Again, it's way too long. I rip it back. And I'm knitting these more or less concurrently. So I always sort of cast on the toe, work part of the foot, work part of the foot, work the rest of the foot, heel, etc. So I more or less get 2 done at the same time. And I don't really have second sock syndrome. I like knitting all my socks, but these just, I actually put these in timeout. I was just frustrated that I could not get this silly heel in correct. And and it was worse than that. Not only had I knit the foot 3 times, I had knit the heel 3 times. It is a really interesting heel pattern construction, so I would encourage you to try it. My advice would be just make it a lot shorter in the foot than you think you're going to need. Haven't heard anybody else have that issue with the pattern, so it was probably just me, and I don't know. Anyway, at the end of the day, they're still a little bit long for me, but dear daughter will be getting a nice pair of lovely, squishy DK Merino socks. So at the end of the day, it was really interesting. I did find the construction something that, good. I probably would not do them again, but I would use some elements of the design. I particularly like the ribbing in a future pair of socks, and I really like the colors that she put together. So I do think it's good, and I will try to continue to expand my sock. Just it's always good to learn new knitting techniques. So I will try some top-down socks again. I will try some different heels over time, but I think my go-to for me, socks are just not something I want to have to futz with a lot. So they're just kind of going to be my easy go-to. So that is my 2 FOs for this episode. So you might be asking yourself, wasn't she knitting on a pullover? Why, yes, I was. I was knitting on the Antler pullover, which is a pattern by Tin Can Knits. It was actually a very quick knit, and I loved knitting it. I am 100% done with the knitting and just need to do the joining of the sleeve on the underarm. So I had actually joined one sleeve, which I'm going to have to rip out. I looked at a couple of different techniques, and what I really liked was a sewn in. Normally you would just Kitchener them. I had live stitches. I ended up knitting them and binding off to try the sewn in method, and it's I'm just not happy with it. I'm going to take the time to rip it out, and I'd wanted to finish it and block it for this episode, and it's just, it's going to be 90 degrees for the next 5 months, so not really a lot of point there, but looks like I need to fix the back of the neck also. But I love this sweater. It fits really nicely. You'll see it once it's blocked again. I am using for this Sestari traditional wool. So Sestari is located in Churchville, Virginia. This is I'm using the color Way Blackberry. Hopefully that is focusing. I love the yarn. The yarn it's quite soft, but not in the same way that like merino, like it feels soft and toothy, if that can be a thing. It's super like it's next to skin easily, but it feels like it would be an heirloom type knit, right? It's got some structure. It feels like it's gonna be, would be hard wearing. I'm so thrilled with, I hope the cables are coming through. I'm not sure my light's the best in this room, but I loved doing these cables. They're, they look so intricate and complex, and they're really so simple. Of course, the Tin Can Knits patterns are impeccably written. They go from infant all the way up to large adult, male. it is a little tiny bit oversized, not a lot. I did it on purpose. So I think I went for like 4 to 5 inches of positive ease, knowing I would probably be using it literally as a pullover of something else, kind of as a more of an outerwear than something I would wear just around the house or what have you. So in the nearish future, I will rip that sleeve out and finish the other sleeve in order to get them done and then really get it properly blocked, and I'll give you a nice discussion point on that once it's finished. The last work in progress I wanted to talk about in this episode is the Habitation throw. This is a pattern by Helen Stewart of Curious Handmade. I am using a magic knot ball where I've kind of put together all the different, it was a lot of minis that I had. I'm trying to remember where I had gotten, and also just pieces of yarn that I had left over. I had caked this up quite some time ago. This has been sort of a background ongoing project. I am now, so I kind of knit on it in between. I haven't done a lot. So here's, of course I'm in the middle of a row, so, so there's always that. But I'm down now to the decrease section. I'm little past halfway, so you can see here's the halfway point. Now I'm on to the decreases. It's just a nice, it's just really a nice kind of palette cleanser project to have. I think no, there we go, pulling it off. And so I am enjoying that. I am trying now to finish it. I have a friend who will be a new grandma soon, and I am planning to send that up. It's not suitable for the parents' house because, of course, it's got some hand wash qualities to it, but I figure that's fine for grandma's house, and it'll be pretty, and I'll enjoy having that go too. That is in my bag by I Heart You, which is a Canadian maker. Put her link in her shop below. She has an Etsy shop. This is one of my couple most favorite bags. I absolutely adore this bag. It's so well made. It's got some good amount of padding in it. It's a great size. So I use it a lot. So anyway, so that is a whip that I'm trying to finish up. So this year, I want to continue to focus on sweater knits, which so last year in 2022 was really, I wanted to really focus on my projects on sweaters. So I'm going to kind of continue that theme, but I have a lot of lingering whips. So I'm really trying to finish 2 before I cast on a new one. I'm not going to say I'm not going to cast on anything because we both know that that's not going to be, that is not going to happen. But I am trying to sort of finish up my other whips in between casting on new projects. So I think that is all for this episode. Thank you so much for joining me. I enjoyed having an opportunity to catch up, and I hope that was a little bit of fun inspiration. I would love to know what you're working on. If you would leave me a comment below, and for all of you who leave comments on past videos as well, I appreciate that so much. I really, really enjoy the connection of the knitting, crochet, crafting community. So, you know, you can reach me on Ravelry, email, and Instagram. And all that is in the show notes as well. So I hope to hear from you soon. In the interim, happy knitting, spinning, dyeing, and weaving. Bye.